I have just finished recording the Thigh Pirate, or actually posting it. If you guys don't know where it is, link will be in the description down below. It might just be floating here with maybe an annotation. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll put it there. Maybe I'll remember to put it there when it's time. But there are more characters on this child banner that need analyzing or breaking down, and hopefully it can help you guys build these characters for the future use. I'll be making more in-depth character guides that are more condensed, but for now I'm gonna try to shrink this down as much as possible. I know my last one was like 20 minutes. In the meantime, if you're new around here, don't forget to hit the red subscribe button, so if you guys want more guys like this, they will come straight to you. Don't forget to hit the like button. Make sure, let's try to get some 20 likes, 30 likes, somewhere on there, so that we are in the algorithm, so you guys can provide others information and the cycle continues. And if you guys enjoyed the content, let me just respond with a like. Yeah, and comment down below which character you want to see next. But first, Diona, like, she needs to happen. But make sure you comment down below. And you guys can catch me at twitch.tv/thatguygoki if you have any more questions. I stream every Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 12 to 4 MST on every one of those days. And on Saturday, there's a nighttime stream, so don't forget to miss that. Don't forget to not miss that. Sorry. Watch it. Now we talk about NINGGUANG. The button didn't work. All right, geez, here we go. Okay, so this is NINGGUANG. You've all met her. Everyone's Chinese grandma, or leggy Chinese lady, or however you guys want to call her. Lie, Lie character, Jade Chamber. She has geo damage bonus as her substat, so you guys gotta remember that when building her artifact set. I'm gonna recommend that later or soon. She has the catalyst type of way of attacking. She does geo damage with her normal attacks, and she gets a Star Jade. Her charge attack is when she can consume those Star Jades to do tons of more damage, and that's pretty much it. She's just rinse and repeat that way. When her normal attacks is very much like every other character in the game. You use normal attack and charge attack. With this character, you use a charge attack far more often than other characters. But yeah, she also has like her elemental skill, like Jade Screen. It's like her most defensive option. Now, I had put this character on B tier, and that's because there's no investment in the character. It's like Constellation 0. I think once she hits her first constellation, it actually puts her up multiple tiers up, because the character just gets hyper-dimensional mobbing ability and very, very strong. And I think that's a con of a character, when you have to get constellation to see the character just mob more efficiently than most. That's a real con. Like, I understand it would be unfair if she didn't need a constellation to mob like hyper effectively like she does with a constellation, but I also feel like she should have just been able to do it from the beginning, just like decrease the amount of damage she does so that it's more fair and balanced. But alas, we're here. I do think she's a fantastic character at the highest peak. If you max her out, she's very, very strong. So for Jade Screen, NINGGUANG creates a Jade Screen out of gold, obsidian, and her great opulence, dealing AoE damage. So when it summons, it does damage, and when it splits out, it does damage as well. And then after that, it just sits there and just sits there, right? You can block enemy projectiles at a certain constellation and boost your damage, and it can block, and it's based on her max HP. So there's a specific build that you can actually have a tankier Jade Screen, but we'll get into that in a second. Star Shatter, her elemental burst. She takes a number of gems, or the Star Jades, and she scatters them all at once, sends homing projectiles on enemies, and it deals a ton of geo damage. If your Jade Screen is up, she can actually break the Jade Screen up to do more damage. It's actually really strong, really effective, and for shielded foes, it can seek behind them and just be like, it's really good, really good. Moving on, passive talents. Trove of Marvelous Treasures lets you farm ore a lot easier. Backup plan for her Star Jades. When you get this backup plan thing, her charge attack doesn't consume stamina, so just in case, like, instead of just consuming both Star Jades and stamina, it only consumes the Star Jades. That's it. Very good quality of life with this character. And then strategic resolve is only effective on Geo characters, really, unless you find a way to Geo imbue with the shield, and then you use her constellations to buff damage with Jade Screen. But this is what I mean by Jade Screen. It's not constellation, but her level 70. When she passes through a Jade Screen or a character passes through it, they get a bump in 12% Geo damage. So mainly just Zhongli and Noelle. So, moving on. Constellations. I mean, strategic reserve is really good for her, but no one else. She's not really a team player, and I think that takes away from her just a little bit. So constellations. C0 NINGGUANG turns into a god at C1. When a normal attack hits, it does AoE damage. Kind of really good for this character. Very, very good, actually. Probably the best constellation out here. No, probably the second best constellation. Shock effect. When Jade Screen is shattered, its cooldown will reset. So if you use the Jade Screen and then you use the Star Shatter to break the Jade Screen to do more damage, it will come back. And then after 6 seconds happens, you'll get the ability back. So you can have Jade Screen up, DPS for a little bit, then cast your Elemental Burst and do tons more damage. Exquisite Be Jade, her weakest constellation in my opinion. We're like, the Jade Screen increases people's elemental resistance by 10%. That's really it. That's probably a funky effect. It could be useful to some extent, but it's I think offense has a bigger presence than defense at the time in this game. I mean, it's only been out for a few months, but right now, it's definitely defense is not the way to go. So this is kind of a weak constellation. Maybe in the future this changes, but for now it's kind of weak. And then when Star Shatter is used, NINGGUANG gains 7 stars. So not only will she get her Jade Screen back, but she gets 7 stars that she can use a charge attack to use. So that's pretty much for her constellations. As you can see, very offensive offensive hero. Like, it's just there, she's just there to do damage, right? She's gonna be a good damage carry. Just be careful, she is squishy, and her defensive capabilities are actually quite low, even though you have Jade Screen. Like, you have to be always moving with her and always throwing out attacks and always flinching and so on and so forth. She can't really take hits too often, but that doesn't really take away from how powerful and effective her mobbing capability or her boss damage is. So keep that in mind when building her. But moving on, Twin Nephrite has a good solid base attack, 40 attack. Secondary stat is critical rate, very much needed, right? 3.4. Defeating an enemy increases movement speed and attack by 12% for 15 seconds. Really, really important to get around the field, keep her defensive, keep her offensive at the same time. And it multiplies very well. It goes up to 20% for both movement speed and attack for 15 seconds after a kill. Especially if you're mobbing an abyss, you can keep this up fairly often. And you can kill enemy to enemy to enemy and create chains of always resetting over and over and over, like keeping this up. So she works very well with Twin Nephrite. I think she's really strong. Mappa Mare, probably one of her other free-to-play options, pretty strong. Elemental reactions. Geo only has one elemental reaction, and that's creating shields. So keep that in mind. She does have an elemental reaction, so she can do, in fact, get this. And she can grant 8% elemental damage bonus for 10% or 10 seconds. So 8%, max of 2 stacks, it becomes 16%. And it comes with elemental mastery. Not really desired, but for the most part, it's good. And it gets up to 16%, so 32% at its highest peak at Refine level 5 if you guys get lucky with the bosses. So, moving on, we have Malic. Now this is a really unique one, and this actually gives NINGGUANG some flexibility that I think she needs to just be better. Or like a strong, powerful character that people don't underestimate. Or just put her in that flexibility tier, right? Now, there are characters that she'll never be more flexible than, but this certainly does increase her flexibility because she can actually benefit from a lot of these things. So for type Malice, her base attack is 42, is more in the middling side, right? While the blue weapon had 40, which is pretty high for a blue weapon. 42 is in between, you have like 44s and stuff like that. But her secondary stat is HP. So if you didn't remember, HP scales onto Jade Screen. So she could benefit from there. And then using your Elemental Burst regenerates 4 energy for every 2 seconds, for 6 seconds. And all party members will regenerate 4 HP every 2 seconds for this duration. Once you get it to max, I believe it's 6 energy and then 6 HP for every 2 seconds for this duration. So you're getting ticks of 6, 12, 18, 80% HP, and quite a bit of energy back. So you're just constantly recycling your elemental abilities. This is an interesting thing. And you can probably pair it with Noblesse, I believe. We'll have to look into that for now. And then Solar Pearl pair. Jeez. Probably her best weapon to date. 42 milling, once again, but crit rate 6%, very strong. And normal attack hits increase elemental skill and elemental burst damage by 20% for 6 seconds. Likewise, elemental skill or elemental burst hits increase normal attack damage by 20% for 6 seconds. Pretty much whatever you do, she's getting a buff in damage. You do your skill, she gets a buff to her normals. If you use her normals, she gets a buff to her skill. Like, it doesn't matter what you initiate with, you're just going to get increased damage on the other one immediately. So keep that in mind. So very good. Very strong, very good general set. Probably good paired with her normal set that everyone tells you to build with her, but this is the Archaic Petra artifact set. And I think her last weapon, very viable for her, Eye of Perception. Now this is a very unique tome, mainly because it acts like the prototype Animus, but instead the bolt travels, so you don't have to be in the fray, the bolt just does the work for you. And you have a base attack of 41, which is relatively low for a 4-star, but it has a secondary attack stat, attack percentage stat. It starts off at 12, so it's pretty good. And then normal and charge attacks have a 50% chance of firing off bolt or perception, dealing 20% attack as damage. The bolt can bounce between enemies a maximum of 4 times, and the effect occurs every 12 seconds. So once you get to max refine, normal and charge attacks have a 50% chance to fire a bolt or perception, dealing 360% attack damage. And then the bolt can bounce between enemies a maximum of 4 times. The effect can occur once every 8 seconds, so the cooldown is reduced and the damage gets increased, which is really fantastic. If you are a whale, you probably have this. You should try it out. Try out your NINGGUANG with this specific setup right here, this specific weapon. But moving on, I hard recommend her the Archaic Petra set. This is probably her best set for most cases. She gains 15% geo damage bonus, which is just universal for her. And when you cause that geo reaction, the crystallized reaction, all party members gain a 35% damage bonus for that particular element for 10 seconds. Only one form of elemental damage bonus can be gained in this manner, only at once a time. So if she creates geo, she's going to be boosting her damage overall. And she also could use the Noblesse set or the Noble set, and I believe for early game to mid game you want to use either Sojourner, Martial Artist, or even the Berserker set just to give her some crit. So overall, I think NINGGUANG is a character that requires some investment, but she is also a very good character at that investment, and you guys should go ahead and build her if you have her. If you're looking for another DPS carry, if you notice, like DPS carries are very plentiful in this game, but there are certain ones that I think you should build over others. If you need a Claymore like character but you don't have an extra Razor or a Diluc laying around, but your Claymore user is already on your main team, she's a good substitute for that because she can break through shields, she can get through shields, she can move her attacks around them. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like. We're trying to get 20 to 30 likes on this video. And if you're new or you enjoy this type of content, go ahead and sub right now. Go hit that red button right there. Check me out at twitch.tv/thatguygoki, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And don't forget to adventure on. Peace out, guys.
Listen, bub, if you enjoy the content, go ahead and subscribe. But if not, just note, Wolverine's the best at what he does.